Imagine waking up and feeling as if the whole world has lost its color, as if every step is too heavy, as if even breathing requires an effort you simply don't have. Have you ever felt this way? As if you were watching your own life from a distance without really being a part of it? Depression is not just sadness. It's not just being unmotivated or having a bad day. It's an emptiness that eats away inside. A kind of emotional anesthesia where everything loses its meaning. Things that once brought pleasure now seem trivial. Simple activities like taking a shower or replying to a message become unbearable challenges. It's as if a dense fog covers everything, obscuring even the possibility of a better future. But the worst part? The feeling that no one really understands. That around you, people continue to live normally, as if it were easy to just think positive or try harder. But you've tried. You've tried in every way to get out of this. And deep down, you feel like you're failing, as if the problem is you. But here's the truth. The problem is not you. Depression is real. It is not laziness. It is not weakness. It is not a lack of willpower. It has deep roots, and understanding this can be the first step to getting out of this hole. Because yes, there is a way out. Throughout this video, we will explore depression in a way that no one has explained to you before. We will go beyond superficial explanations and dive into what is really happening in your mind. We will talk about what science has discovered, but also about what society hides. And above all, I want you to know, you're not alone. If something inside you resonated with these words, stay with me. Perhaps, just perhaps, this is the beginning of a change. Most people do not understand what it really means to be depressed. They confuse it with sadness, discouragement, or laziness. But if you have ever experienced it firsthand, you know that depression goes far beyond that. It is not just a fleeting emotion. It is a deep state of mental, physical, and emotional exhaustion. It feels as if your own mind has become a maze with no exit, where every thought weighs tons and every attempt to react seems futile. Imagine carrying an invisible burden all the time, something that drains your energy even before you get out of bed. The things that once brought you joy, listening to music, reading, going out with friends, now feel empty. And the worst part is that you can't even explain it properly to others. How do you say you feel a weight on your chest even when there is no apparent reason? How do you explain that, even surrounded by people, you feel alone? Sigmund Freud, one of the greatest names in psychology, viewed depression as a form of displaced mourning. He believed that, on some level, those who are depressed are mourning something they have lost. And sometimes that loss is not concrete, but emotional. It could be the loss of a dream, a version of oneself, or a sense of identity. Jung, on the other hand, saw depression as a call for transformation. For him, when your mind throws you into this deep state of discouragement, it may be because something inside you needs to change. But modern science has also brought important explanations. Studies show that depression alters brain chemistry, reducing the production of neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, substances responsible for pleasure and well-being. This means that, biologically, your brain starts to function differently when you are depressed. It is not a matter of willpower. It is not something you can simply overcome overnight. And here comes one of the cruelest aspects of depression: guilt. Have you noticed how it convinces you that everything is your responsibility? That if you feel this way, it must be because you have failed at something, because you are not trying hard enough. But that is not true. Depression is an illness, not a choice. And the more you understand this, the more you can see that this internal voice that accuses you is not yours, but a symptom of the condition itself. But if depression is so devastating, why does it seem to be increasingly present in the modern world? Why do so many people, even those who apparently have everything, feel empty inside? The answer may lie in the environment we live in a society that pushes us into an endless cycle of pressure, comparison, and disconnection. And that is exactly what we will talk about in the next part. Have you ever wondered why depression seems to be increasingly present? In theory, we live in the age of comfort. We have advanced technology, unlimited entertainment, and access to information with a click. So why do so many people feel emptier and more hopeless than ever? The truth is that the modern world sells us an idea of happiness that, in practice, is impossible to achieve. We are bombarded every day with images of perfect lives, flawless bodies, and fairy tale relationships. Social media has created a parallel reality where everyone seems to be happy, fulfilled, and successful, except for you. And this constant comparison is one of the biggest triggers for depression. Zygmunt Bauman called this liquid modernity. According to him, we live in a society where everything is transient: jobs, relationships, values. Nothing is solid. Nothing is guaranteed. We are always chasing something, but as soon as we achieve it, a new goal appears to pursue. You can never rest. You can never feel satisfied because the system we live in needs your constant dissatisfaction to stay afloat. And what happens when you can't keep up with this pace? You feel like a failure. And depression finds fertile ground in that feeling because, on top of everything, it comes with a silent isolation. You look around and think everyone is living normally while you feel trapped inside your own mind. But the truth is that many are also suffering. It's just that no one talks about it. Moreover, our society disconnects us from ourselves. We are constantly distracted by our phones, by work, by daily obligations. We don't have time to feel, to reflect, to simply exist. And when we finally stop, what do we find? A terrifying emptiness. Carl Jung said that depression can be a call from the psyche for transformation. But how can we transform something when we are trapped in a system that prevents us from even looking inward? The first step is to understand that this feeling of disconnection is not just an individual problem. It is a symptom of a world that treats us like machines, not like human beings. But what if depression were not just a problem to be eliminated? What if, instead of just fleeing from it, we tried to understand what it has to tell us? Is there a hidden message behind this suffering? In the next section, we will explore the invisible side of depression, what society teaches us to ignore, but which may be the key to breaking this cycle. And what if I told you that depression is not just a weight that needs to be eliminated, but a signal that something inside you is asking to be heard? We live in a society that teaches us to flee from suffering at any cost. If you are sad, distract yourself. If you feel anxiety, take a pill. If something hurts, pretend it doesn't exist. But what if that pain had a purpose? What if, instead of just silencing depression, you try to understand what it is trying to tell you? Carl Jung believed that depression is not just an illness, but a psychic process. For him, depression can be a call for transformation, an attempt by your mind to make you see something you have been avoiding. Think about it. You have always heard that happiness is the natural state of being human. But what if that is a lie? What if discomfort, melancholy, and existential crisis are essential parts of the growth process? Often depression arises when there is a disconnection between who you really are and the life you are leading. You follow what you were told you should do, but something inside you feels that something is wrong. and that something doesn't disappear. It accumulates in the unconscious until one day it pulls you down, forcing you to look within. Nietzsche said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." But depression steals that why. It convinces you that there is no meaning, that nothing is worth it. But is that an end, or an invitation to discover something deeper? Perhaps depression is not just a chemical problem in the brain, but a symptom of a life that is not aligned with what truly matters to you. Depression may be trying to show you that certain things in your life need to change. Maybe you are stuck in a routine that is destroying you. Perhaps you are surrounded by people who drain your energy. Maybe you have spent so much time trying to please others that you have forgotten who you really are. And then your mind, in a final act of defense, simply pulls you inward so that you finally realize what is wrong. But if depression has something to teach us, it means there is a way to start getting out of it. Small steps can create big changes, even when everything seems lost. And that is what we will talk about